Greetings, folks. Healer here, and good morning. I apologize, my voice is a little gravelly as I'm working to get this video out as early as I can, and it also hasn't helped that we've had some local wildfires that have been making the air quite hazy and smoky over the last few days. In any case, Wargaming has announced on the World of Warships development blog some changes to ships that they are testing in 097. In fact, most of these ships had changes announced within the last couple of weeks. And so it's clear that Wargaming is making a very assertive press to wrap up these ships as soon as they can. I assume they have a particular update in mind when they want to get these ships released and are trying to dial in their performance and get them ready for final release. I am going to jump around a little bit here and start with the ships that I think the audience is going to be most interested in first. So the three upcoming U.S. Navy battleships that are part of the Tech Tree line split, which includes the Kansas, Minnesota, and the Vermont. They are getting a few changes. The Kansas, or Sigma, is being reduced from 1.7 to 1.5. 1.5 is the Sigma we have on the Pommern, so it turns or makes the dispersion of the shells much more even across the dispersion ellipse and turns her more into a shotgun. I can only assume that Wargaming has found that a 12-gun, 406 millimeter battleship at tier 8 with a Sigma of 1.7 was being too effective. That's what I'm assuming. And so they dialed down the Sigma to compensate for that. The other change that's being made is all three of these are receiving the defensive AA fire consumable. And this I'm not particularly surprised by because these ships are quite slow and they are probably prime targets for carriers because of their poor speed. And giving them the defensive AA fire gives them some better chance of being able to compete or defend themselves against carrier attacks. It doesn't say here anything about this being a buffed version of defensive AA fire like we see on the U.S. Navy destroyers. So at this point, I'm going to assume this is just the standard, the standard defensive AA fire consumable. All right, the next update is to the Florida, and these are all nerfs. And I know this is going to be disappointing to U.S. Navy battleship fans. So first of all, her hit point pool is being reduced by about 20% from 63,800 to 51,800. I can only assume that Wargaming has determined the ship is too survivable at tier 7 as a battleship with the current HP pool and it needs to be reduced. And then the other three changes affect her main battery performance. So her reload on her main battery is being increased from 31.5 to 33.5 seconds. In fact, in the update within the last couple of weeks, her reload was nerfed from 30 seconds to 31.5. So this is a second nerf to the reload. The alpha on the HE shells is being reduced slightly by 5%, from 5,000 to 4,750. And then lastly, the chance of fire from the HE shells is being reduced from 30% to 22%. So what I've seen when I see Florida's in game from testers is they do fire a lot of HE. These 356 millimeter or 14-inch shells don't compete very well, certainly against tier 8 and higher ships, but even against tier 7 and tier 6 battleships, they will have the armor to be able to bounce these 14-inch shells or the 356 millimeter shells. So I see Florida players firing a lot of HE. Maybe she's like turning into a tier 7 U.S. Navy conqueror in some ways. And so I can kind of see where Wargaming is trying to dial down the performance of the HE shells if they find, based on the data, that the Florida is too effective firing HE routinely. That's the assumption or the conclusion I can draw from this. I'm going to hold judgment. Like I said, I know that nerfs like this, especially against non-Soviet ships or non-Russian ships, tends to draw a lot of emotional ire. I tend to reserve judgment until I've had a chance to play the ship myself, or see the ship in the hands of a broader audience before drawing conclusions and saying whether any of these changes are too excessive or not, or are excessive or not. But we'll just have to see. All right, jumping back up to the top, the upcoming special Tier 10 U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, the Franklin D. Roosevelt, her rocket attacks are being nerfed slightly with 30 rockets, I'm sorry, 28 rockets in their attack instead of 30. In the update from a couple of weeks ago, the rockets, the alpha was also reduced. So it's clear that Wargaming is trying to dial in the performance of the rocket attacks on the Roosevelt. The next update is to the upcoming premium Tier 8 Royal Navy light cruiser, the HMS Belfast 43. So she is getting, well, these aren't even changes. I think this entry might be a mistake. So when the Belfast was announced a few weeks ago, it said that her smokescreen dispersion time was 40 seconds and her radar detection of ships would be 9 kilometers. This is the article that was announced a few weeks ago. And in this article, they're saying that the radar is being reduced from 10 to 9 kilometers and the smoke screen is being reduced, or the dispersion time, which is how long the smoke sticks around, is being reduced from 60 to 40 seconds. But those aren't any changes. So I don't know whether Wargaming had implemented some changes that I overlooked or missed, and they're bringing them back to what they had originally. I just don't know, but this kind of feels like this is probably a mistake. In any case, the last update is to the upcoming premium Tier 9 Italian destroyer, the Pelo Emilio. She's getting a slight tweak to the performance, the alpha on her SAP shells from 3350 to 3050. Again, this ship has been in development for well over a year. I'm not particularly surprised that she keeps getting tweaked. I don't know when we'll see this ship, but I suspect Wargaming is trying to wrap up this ship as well, because again, she has been in development for a very long time, and they probably want to make her available since there are quite a few people I think that have been looking forward to getting this ship, although probably not in the form that she will ultimately be. In any case, that is going to wrap it up for this announcement. I hope you found the information here interesting and useful, if maybe not a little bit disappointing, especially for folks looking forward to the Florida. But please do let me know your thoughts and comments in the comments below. And as always, we hope to see you out there on the virtual seas, and we wish you happy sailing.